ring, 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 Katie's dead. Ring, 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 Katie's dead. It's like in what's that thing where the witch is dead and they all celebrate?
Ding
Is
dong,
that-
witch is dead.
Is that the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, ding dong, the witch is dead.
Yeah, I feel like that's way too gleeful. So Katie is ill,
Dead.
and so she could not join us. Dead, yes.
There's a new pope.
And there's a new pope. Today is April the 8th.
May
8th. May 8th. Today is May 8th. And we were going to do a topic, but Katie's not here, so we can't do the topic that we had originally planned. So we're gonna talk about Dark Souls, and even though I have not played a single Dark Souls game, which is very funny.
Sort of.
I've realized that right now. I actually have just realized.
You've played Elden Ring. You've played Demon Souls.
Elden Ring, Demon Souls, and like 20 hours of the Sekiro.
Yeah, sure.
Seth has played them all, so
I have, yeah.
And he does like runs and things like that.
Yeah.
I need a cold open. Whatever. There's no cold open. There's no cold open.
The cold open is that Katie is dead.
Yeah, Katie's dead. Blah.
Just like our
okay.
open, Katie is cold and dead and in the ground.
Yeah, hopefully she'll be back next week. What have you been playing this week, my gentleman friend Seth?
I'd wish I'd be able to say I've been playing a lot more, but not really. Although it's been a couple weeks for us, as it seems like it tends to be every time. I still been playing a lot of Bloons Tower Defense.
Okay.
There was a collection event. So they have this thing usually around major holidays, where if you like play new maps and stuff, you can collect, some MacGuffin. In this case, because it was Easter, you could collect like little Easter eggs, and then you get like better and better Insta monkeys to just sort of like build your collection. So that was cool. I enjoyed like logging in daily for that. I've
been trying the roguelite mode, and I don't think I understand how it works. So I stopped trying.
I played a little bit of the roguelite mode, literally like last night. It's better than it was on launch. I still don't really know how I feel about it, because it feels more so than your typical roguelite that the goal is to just get like a really cheesy combo and then just like ball out. Whereas it feels like if you're playing like Isaac or Hades or something, even if you don't get one of those like really powerful combos, you're still capable of like getting through to the late stage of the game. Where it sort of feels like for this, just like being consistent isn't going to get you there. Which is why it's what I feel like gives roguelites some like long-term, like really some like longevity. Like Slay the Spire is, I feel like, a really good game because it really rewards consistency, even with its like randomness. Whereas I feel like the Rogue Legends for Bloons Tower Defense doesn't really reward consistency as much, but I don't know. I have to play it a little bit more to really make a final evaluation. Yeah, I have been playing a little bit of Elden Ring. I took my Soul Level 1 character, and I'm starting to go through the DLC. Which has been fun. It sounds like it would be like a massive pain. It's really not.
What do you do with your souls? If you're not leveling up, like, are you getting expensive stuff? Like, what is the...
So I'll sometimes just buy like extra upgrade material. So like I'll go, because in theory, I don't actually have them all unlocked, but in theory I should have all of the like upgrade materials unlocked. So like, I get like 400,000 souls of a boss. I just go buy like 2 of every upgrade material, so that if I wanted like use another weapon, I could just upgrade it straight to like +9 or +24, so that I can like play around with it. Otherwise, you go buy like consumables. Like you buy like the herbs that give you like a temporary stamina boost, or like temporary like phys def boost. Like stuff that you wouldn't usually spend your souls on because you're like, I'd rather level up. Or you just die with them. It's kind of freeing to just die with like 500,000 souls, and you're like, Who cares? I wasn't really going to spend them on anything useful anyway. But I managed to get through the first major boss of the DLC. I got through Rilana. She's like the Twin Moon Knight. That was cool. I was pretty happy about that one. It actually wasn't that bad. The soul level 1 is a really interesting way, and we'll be talking about Dark Souls games later. But like the level 1 run for all of the Souls games is a very interesting way to play, because I would never do it as like my first time through, but for like literally a third or fourth playthrough of the games, it does a really good job of showing you that like you do understand these. Like, it took me way longer to beat this boss the first time I went through the DLC, and I've only played through the DLC once. It took me so long to beat it the first time through. Full power character. I never stopped leveling it at some point, so I leveled it up to like 200 or something. It's got like jacked stats, jacked weapons, and it took me days. I think it probably took me like 3 days to beat this boss the first time. And now I did it on my level 1 character that kind of has like shitty equipment. Doesn't even have the maximum amount of like flasks. There's no point in upgrading my flasks either. They're at like +6 because it fully restores my health and mana bars because I can't level them up. So I like stopped looking for those upgrade materials. So it's a fun way to play, especially like if you've played a lot like I have.
Sure.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else on my list, but I was like playing phone games, I think, for a while. Somebody called me. I was playing phone games for a while, but I couldn't really find anything that's fun. An off-topic discussion. I'm playing a first edition D&D game with like my girlfriend's uncle, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
So that's been like a thing. But yeah, not too much for me. We're kind of approaching the end of the school year, so I'm mostly just trying to get things like wrapped up and spending a lot of time like grading and doing fun work stuff.
I could never imagine.
No. How about you? What have you been up to?
So I finished Demon Souls.
Yeah, how was that?
So I am bad at the game. I think it's supposed to take you like 20 hours, and it took me 60. And
20 seems like it would be fast.
I had a really weird experience with like I struggled so hard until I got to like the last 4 bosses, and then I only died like 2 times between all of the last 4 bosses.
But like that
I don't
happens.
know what the fuck that was about, but that was strange. I feel like I got used to my character moving finally. I did
it's a slow game.
I did cheese 1 boss. I did completely glitch 1 boss because it's and I think it's the main boss too. I think I robbed myself the joy of the entirety of Dark Souls. But I did not, because I like dying over and over to bosses. Like I really like that sense of repetition. And that guy that takes away your soul levels, I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not fucking doing that.
That's fair.
And so there's a glitch where you can pull out your bow and you can step into the room without triggering them, basically. So then they become passive. And so that's he was the only one I did that with, but I was not going to lose like 40 soul levels to him. That wasn't going to happen. So I glitched him.
That is funny. I don't know if I'm in the minority opinion, but I'm in the opinion that like you should take down Souls bosses like whatever's available to you. Like especially the really annoying ones. Like you do what you can.
I lost 5 soul levels to him, and then after that, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Isn't the soul level attack like the most telegraphed attack in the game? Doesn't he literally stand there and be like...
It is, yes. It's an insane thing to get hit by. It's very, very well telegraphed. That does not mean that
It
I
doesn't mean
got
you
away from
did get hit.
it. It doesn't mean I didn't get hit. Um, yeah, I went through almost all of, like, literally almost all of the swamp. Like, it's like
Mhm.
the cliffs. It starts off with like the cliffs that are really difficult and narrow,
Yeah.
and then you got to fight, and then it's like a blood swamp or whatever. I did
You gotta
all of
fight
that.
the one lady instead of her knight. Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I did all of that without dying once, and I was like, okay, I understand this game now. And so uh, so that felt good, and then I played. I think Demon Souls. I guess we'll talk about this later, but I like how um I really like how focused it is. Like, it's very specific.
Yeah.
It's very cinematic game.
It's also
Um,
very, and I think this is one of the joys of the Dark Souls games, and into our point for later. They feel very methodical.
yeah,
Like
yes, yes.
like Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, they are very like intentionally slow and methodical, and they want you to follow a process and to sort of be patient with that process.
Yeah. I Googled the story because I actually did not really get an understanding of
I
the
don't really
story.
know what the story is either.
I did not pay much attention to the NPC characters. There's the witch who I liked, and I
Mm.
actually gave her souls to give me stuff, and then I figured out that my intelligence was not high enough to use any of her magic.
Isn't
So
that
I got
funny?
so that was a waste. Anyways, I like those games a lot. Or I like Demon Souls a lot. And then I played Gris, which
What is that?
so Gris is a
It sounds
2D
familiar.
platformer. Um, I think it's an indie game. It is one of the most visually striking games I've ever played, ever.
Yeah, it looks
Like,
crazy. It's also only
it's
$3 right now.
yeah, it is. My suggestion would be, if you're going to play Gris, play it on the biggest screen you have access to.
That that's
Um,
funny. I like
because
that.
like something like Celeste or Hollow Knight, I feel work very well handheld. But
Yeah.
Gris, it's a lot about the composition, the colors. It has the most nuance, and I mean this like from a technical sense, like the most nuanced use of color ever, in the fact that you will see something and you will think is black, and then a darker black will come on screen, and then a darker black will come on screen. Like,
Yeah,
like
cool.
like it's so like designery. I don't think and like any emotion that it gave me was mostly because of the aesthetics. The story is like some trauma depression metaphor or whatever, which is fine. But like
You're like, whatever.
the well, yeah, I that's fine. But like the actual like the look of some of the levels is the most insane things I've ever seen in my life. Also, like the animations, like the way her dress moves when you walk and how it flows different than when she runs, or a poncho. I don't know if it's a dress. I think it's more like a poncho. But like
Sure.
how it changes when like she runs and walks, and how it's a very simple but like really fluid animation. It's I don't I love that game so much. I think it's like up there. I think it's up there with like the pantheon of like canonical indie games, um,
Interesting.
like of games that like. And I know it's a very important game, and I know they just released a new game too called Neva, which people are loving. It was in like indie game of the year list last year, and but yeah, I do think it's up there. The gameplay is fine. Like, it's the puzzles are fine. There's some like interesting mechanics, but nothing like incredible.
Is
It's
it just sort of
most
like an atmospheric puzzle platformer?
Yes. So think about like Journey almost. It
Mm.
has like what it accomplishes, I would say. I think it's way more visually interesting than Journey. This is more about like the visuals than even the atmosphere, I would say. I would say like the literal frame, like the pictures on the screen are what is incredible about this. Like I would say something like Journey, it's more about like the vibe and the feeling and everything together. But this is
Right.
not
Journey
that.
is more about like the experience, right?
Yes, yes. This is about like, oh, like there's such beautiful geometry. Like you go into a forest and there's these trees that are made with like really precise geometrical shapes, and they're so interesting and satisfying, and it has so many cool visual language things that'll pop up again. I just think it's one of the best visually designed things I've ever experienced. Um, yeah, and like as far as like Celeste is like about good platforming and emotional storytelling, and Hollow Knight's about like really good combat and things like that. This game I think is in that league, but for like visual design, as far as like the literal frames that you're watching on screen at any given time. It's crazy. Um the soundtrack is also like really way more beautiful than you think it's going to be. The soundtrack is incredible. It takes about like 3 hours maybe. I think I want to play it again while I'm high. It seems like a very good game to play high because it doesn't require quick motor skills. It's barely a puzzle platformer, barely.
Barely a puzzle platform.
Yeah, and then I played Blueprints. I probably put like 5 or so hours into a game called Blueprints. And Blueprints, I do not know if I'm going to continue to play. So here's the thing. I think Blueprints is like the opposite of Outer Wilds, in the sense that when you play Outer Wilds, if you know how to do something, like you are rewarded for knowledge with immediate progression based on that knowledge. Blueprints is like the tedium of a roguelite, and also like you need to know what's happening, but because it's random. So okay, so this is how Blueprints work. So you know how like, so you generate your own board basically. So you're going from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, and you have a grid, and each grid you can place tiles down, and the tiles are rooms, and the rooms have doors or walls. So some doors connect to the next room, and if it's a wall it doesn't connect. And so you can box yourself in and not make it all the way if you don't draw and make a hallway for yourself, basically a collection of rooms that gets all the way to the end. And then each of those rooms will have secrets and puzzles within them that are either self-contained or connect to the environment at large, right? So, but the thing is that you cannot control very well. There's some small things that you can do, but not usefully, what rooms are coming up. And because it's a mystery game, there's no combat, it's just a puzzle game, you can know the solution to a puzzle and not be able to try that solution for hours because you're waiting for, like, there's some puzzles that take 3 rooms to spawn on the same run, or else you can't try it. Or rooms have to spawn directly next to each other. And unless you get a boiler room right next to a different room, you can't actually try that. Or like you have to have a door open on a specific side of a specific room. So and you don't control any of that. It's all RNG. And I think it's like hard RNG too, because you can put like 4 hours in and you're not like, it doesn't seem to weight any of that stuff in my experience. So, anyways,
is it kind of going for the vibe of like, we're going to present you with, rather than like here it, so imagine like Portal, right? Like here is a puzzle, solve it in order to get to the next puzzle.
Sure.
The vibe I'm getting from this is it's a little bit more freeform, whereas like there's really like 10 or 15 different puzzles that you're solving simultaneously. It's just like this run, I can solve puzzle number 2. And then yes, like I could start my run over, and then potentially it gives me like puzzle number 5 or puzzle number 12.
Yeah, except yes. But the thing about with puzzles is that
they're like interconnected.
They're and you can be progression locked, because like you can be like, okay, like these puzzles rely on me getting this stuff, and I can't make progress because you reset, everything resets.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, items have to spawn, and if you don't get the item, you just can't make progress. And that's really annoying, because I think in puzzle games, for me, the process of trial and error is so important.
Yeah.
And this game has such slim margins for trial and error because once you get like a specific set of circumstances, it might be hours before you get that specific set of circumstances again.
So
yeah.
And so I've seen. Okay, so I was telling you this earlier, but so my favorite streamer has been playing through this game. So I've seen like clips. I haven't actually like really watched a gameplay video, literally just clips. So, but I know one of the pieces of commentary he gave, and he's really excited about it, and he's usually like the roguelike guy.
Sure.
Is he is really excited about like the depth of a lot of the puzzles and sort of some of the wordplay that's involved and the interconnectedness for a lot of the ideas. But I know he was, I think, addressing this issue specifically, and he was like, brother, just restart the run. Like if you feel like you're trapped, like it's a roguelike, right? Like the goal of it is to just
but it
just
takes
boot it back
so
up.
much time. Like it's like hours.
Is there some sunk cost fallacy in this, right? That's not just like I'm super deep into this run, I need to play it out. I mean, really, is there anything stopping you from just saying like, okay, like I feel like I'm at a dead end, like so why don't I just restart?
It's because I think you have to play each run out because there's so much potential that's always there. So you can't get like a third of the way through a run and decide, oh, this isn't working for me, because it could work out in the last 10% of the run, and then you get what you need to get.
But is there a diminishing return, right? Like if I'm getting a third of the way through and I'm like, I feel like this isn't working for me, why don't I just like restart and try another puzzle angle?
I don't think so, for a couple reasons. First of all, the further
I haven't played this, right? So I'm just like arguing devil's advocate.
So I don't think so. First of all, the further you get, the more rare rooms you get. So to even have a good chance at getting some of the rooms that you need to get farther to get past the first common room things. So because they're not all equal rarity, and I think it seems to me anyways, like the further you get along, the rarer the rooms get. And then those are the most useful rooms. And you might need to get like 3 rare rooms in a row, and you'll never be able to know if you get that like before the halfway point anyways. So
do you remember when I played as when UFO 50 came out, the first game in UFO 50, which I'm blanking on.
Baruta or whatever?
Barbuda.
Barbuda.
I played Barbuda, and I literally sat down and I made like a handmade map of Barbuda. And I know you didn't like Barbuda, but I actually really enjoyed that process in Barbuda. Like,
I fucking hated that game.
Like physically sitting down with a notebook, like a gridded notebook, and I drew out the whole map, and I made labels for everything, and I made like a key, and I actually really enjoyed that. Is that something that you think would be valuable for Barbuda? For Blueprints?
Yeah, the game tells you that explicitly.
Oh, okay.
The game is like, you're going to want to take a lot of notes. I cannot be bothered to take notes. So what I've been doing is taking pictures on my phone.
Oh, that makes sense.
I just have a folder of all the notes so I can go back to that stuff. Anyways, I wish that I just wish you got to keep the notes. Like, I just wish there was like an inventory thing where once you get a note, it goes into your collection of notes.
Yeah.
Or like there's an in-game way to take screenshots where it's so annoying that I have to do that myself. There's no reason that once you find a note, like he can't like pocket it, or he can't, like, even if it resets and the note's still there, like Outer Wilds, for example, keeps like a log. Keeps like a log. And that's really helpful because the log organizes it in a way that facilitates the connections for you. So the log will visually put things out that are close to each other, important to each other, or hey, this is going to connect to this. And I think that the reason Blueprints doesn't do that is because it refuses to tell you which keys goes to which lock for a lot of the game. Like, it is very adamant. This is a clue, and you're going to have to scour the entire game to know where this clue applies to. And so, like, in that sense,
I get it. I get it, though. Like
that, like, in that sense, like, every room, even rooms that end your run, you still want to explore, even rooms that aren't useful. Because like rooms will like have like different resources and things, and some of them will like end your run, and they're still useful to explore the first time or the second time,
Yeah.
but they don't continue being useful.
The phrase that's coming to mind, and I think this is probably going to be the tagline for this episode for me, is like one man's tedium is another man's treasure, right? Like,
Yeah,
to you that sounds tedious, and I'm like, that sounds kind of cool.
I also don't like puzzle games that much. Like, I think this game only works. Okay, here's the thing. I
also don't like puzzle games, so I don't know how far I'll actually get in this game.
But there are some genres, like I love, like for example, like narrative platformers. And a narrative platformer does not have to be that good. It can kind of suck, and I will still love it because it's doing something that I like. This or the one about Russia in the war. That was one of the worst platformers I ever played. I fucking loved it. I loved it so much. And like I feel like this game is for people who really like puzzles and like puzzles for the sake of doing puzzles.
That's the vibe I'm getting from it.
Yeah.
Just from like
and
the
also,
reviews.
Some of the puzzles are so fucked. I could do a lot of I've had to Google 3 times now. Some of the Google is just because the information is so convoluted. I actually don't want to put it together myself. Like I found all the clues. I know it goes to this place, but like the cognitive math problem that I would have to do to make this make sense is horrendous. There's like, okay, so this is spoilers for Blueprints, I guess. But like this is an example, right?
Do I want to know this? Because I think I'm literally about to play the game as soon as we get off.
So this, it won't. No, you're gonna be fine. So
okay.
there's a sequences of buttons, right? And you're not giving much context for this. And the buttons, when you press them, they change colors, and so it becomes apparent that you have to put the colors in a specific order, right?
Okay, it's one of those things where like you press a button and then the other buttons change.
Sometimes, or just that button changes. It depends on how. It depends on where you are. So. And there's like 3 different pieces of information that you have to get around the game to know how that operates. Because you play it the first time and you feel like an insane person because there's no pattern to it. Like you can't figure out how it works. And then you get all the pieces of information and it's so horrifically dense. I went to an IGN guide because I was like, I'm not fucking doing this. So I went to an IGN guide and I'm like, I have all the pieces, just put it together for me. And even with the guide, it took me like 15 minutes to input the button sequence. Even with the guide.
That's really funny.
It's
atrocious, but it's funny.
Also, I would not be afraid to Google things because IGN specifically and Polygon, I think, have articles that will start with what you're looking for and then have hints, boxes that. And so you don't have to spoil the whole thing for yourself, and you can click on one hint and then it'll give you a broad hint. And then so there's times where I will look up the puzzle thing, I'll click the first hint and I'll be like, okay, that at least eliminates so much. I'm going to try this other thing that I'm thinking of. So I would say that the gaming news sites are being pretty, all the guides are pretty
good
useful.
about it.
As long as you don't scroll directly to the bottom, like if you start at the top,
yeah, sure.
You hit the button and it'll give you the first hint and things like that. And so that's been good. But like the amount of thought that you have to also, so there are certain things that you have to unlock. And I don't know if I missed the category of information that I was supposed to understand on how to unlock these things. But there's like, if I was supposed to intuit that, it's fucking, no, that's stupid. Like, there's so many times in this game where I would be like, the level of energy I would have to put into like this one puzzle would be insane.
That is something I'm a little worried about is just like cognitive load on some of these things. Because that's annoying. Is like, you're like, I know that there is a solution here. I know if I spent enough time to solve it, I could come up with it. But like, is it really that worth my time to do so?
I would say you will be doing a lot more math because there's some math things that I relied on, that once I figured it out, I I look up a guide now just because I figured it out once and I don't want to remember all the pieces to it every time I go into that room and have to do a different version of this puzzle again.
Sure.
It's so like, yeah, and there are some permanent upgrades. I don't know. I don't like puzzles that much. I don't like the fact that I can't experiment very easily. I hate the way it manages your resources. So like this isn't a spoiler, but you can only walk a certain amount.
I did know this. Yes.
And like you can't experiment like that. Like you literally have like your footsteps are a resource. And so like you can't experiment. Like you have like you can't brute force solutions.
I'm excited to try this game out and come back to it because I feel like this happens sometime literally specifically between the two of us because Katie's not usually involved in this. I'm excited to try this game out and then come at it from have this same conversation again, but from like my perspective of like having played it.
Sure.
And being able to say like, Dempsey, you're wrong and here's why.
I do think for puzzle people, I think this will be considered one of the best puzzle games ever made. I do understand why that is. And apparently like the end game is like twice the size of the actual game. And narratively, I think the narrative's actually there. Like I think there's a fun Clue-like story.
Okay.
It's like a big mansion, a rich family, lots of political intrigue.
It's not like Souls where you have no idea what's going on.
No, I will say it's kind of hard.
I mean, but there's like
and you have
a
to
story
make sense
that's like
of it.
a little cryptic, and they kind like even like the narrative being part of the puzzle is interesting versus like the Souls games where it's like this is intentionally very cryptic.
Yeah, it's not there's a I would say there's a mystery to solve, but I don't think the pieces are cryptic. Like once you get a note that talks about what's happening, you get like a window into what's happening.
You get like a little piece of it.
Yes. And so you kind of put it all together. I think the moments of surprise when something, I will say this, and this might be the thing that pushes me forwards if I continue to play this game. The moment of surprise when an idea works out, it's like fucking methamphetamine. Like it is the most happy moment of my life. Like when I have an idea and
then it works.
And then you're like, "Oh my God, I am the smartest person to ever exist. I am so unbelievably intelligent." It's like a game tailor-made to, and also there's a sense of like I am the master of the universe because I took this set of circumstances, and you'll never get a perfect run. You're always like duct taping your circumstances together to try to approximate what you need, which is like fun, but it doesn't let up. Like it's like I would like my perfect version of this game would be more permanent upgrades and more ability to skip the first like 3 levels, like to skip the first like couple things. Like I just wish like there's a tool, for example, that I don't want to have to wait for that tool to come. I just want to know that I have that, and so I can experiment with it. But you only get that tool sometimes. And so I
think I'll also be coming at this game from more of a specific note-taking perspective. Like sure. I'm planning on going into this game with my Barbuda mindset, which is like this game is going to be tedious and obnoxious unless if I'm very specific about taking notes about like relationships and locations and like what are the different puzzles I think are active.
So I'm going to be interested to hear how you take notes, because in my opinion, it's so much better to take pictures, because things that you don't think are important the first time will become important. And so if I was to take notes, for example, I would like write down like a summary and the important information. And that's not it. Like there is information that will seem like it's ancillary, and then like the next 4 puzzles depending on you paid attention to like this information that did not feel important at the time. And
Well,
so
yeah,
that's also,
and then
but
like
you'll remember
runs
that it was
over,
there.
you boot it
And
back
then
up.
so yeah, and then so you'll remember like, oh fuck, I forgot the fucking, I didn't write that down. And so that's a lot of it too. It's like having a vague idea of like, okay, this is where I found this information. I'm gonna go back there. I had that moment I had like that moment 3 times last night of like, okay, the information's here somewhere. I remember, but yeah, it's really, I don't know. I love the vibes. I think it's like it's very like Clue. It's very classic mystery point and click. I love so much about it. I love the atmosphere. I like it literally doesn't give you any tutorial. I didn't know how to run for like the first couple hours. And I was thinking to myself, God, I really wish this game had a fucking run button. And it does. It just didn't tell me that it had a run button. That's
I'm the vibe I'm sort of getting from this game is, and our actual topic was tedium here, but you know, whatever. The vibe I'm sort of getting from this game reminds me, in a way, of like Darkest Dungeon. Like,
yes,
there's a roguelite
100%. I agree.
to this, where there needs to be a sort of, this is going to be a crazy sentence. There needs to be like an ego death going into the game. Because like in Darkest Dungeon, part of the ego death is realizing that like the characters in the game are ultimately lambs to the slaughter. And the game makes that very clear throughout the experience. And my relationship to Blueprints is I'm sort of wondering like, is part of the meta idea here that like I have a desire to like solve puzzles in a certain way and to like preserve information in a certain way, and I need to accept that like some runs are just bound for defeat.
So this is my response to that. So this is now we're in the topic. So I will say this. So let's take Demon Souls and Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
Games which I will throw myself at the same boss for days, sometimes weeks.
Been there.
And in my opinion, that's a certain kind of ego death. However, the thing is, I get to practice what I don't understand every time. And that makes it so much more satisfying of like, even if I'm stuck on this boss, I can still throw myself against the wall and learn and try to understand its moves and get my character animation down and things like that. And like, there's a learning process every time I go in. And it 100%, it's exactly how I feel about Darkest Dungeon. It's like, actually, my desire to learn is not important because sometimes I just don't have the tools.
You're not in control.
I'm not in control and I don't have the tools I need. And like, that's so frustrating. Like that feels so, oh my God, just give me the, like, just give me the thing. Just give me, I can do it. And so I think like the level of tedium that I am comfortable with is I think where I feel like I have the agency. And the thing about Blueprints is it really does take away player agency. Like but the thing is in Hades, right? Let's say Hades or Slay the Spire. Like in Slay the Spire, you're going to get some unwinnable runs, you know, and that's part of the game. But I still feel like you can be like, okay, this is a shitty situation. I'm going to do pretty good though. I made it to the 3rd round in Slay the Spire, and that was a lot better than I thought I was going to do. And so like I was able to like learn technique and math and how to approach things even on a bad run. This is what I will say about, I don't think that experience is true for Blueprints. I think a bad run is just a bad run. You have an idea, you know how to progress, and you just didn't pull the rooms. And it's not like there's a skill set. Like it's not like you're learning how to like a boss move set or how to like your character animations or something like that.
Sure.
It's not difficult.
I, having not played it, I have a sneaking suspicion that it is much like Slay the Spire in the fact, okay, because here's the thing about Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire doesn't have unwinnable runs. If you're below, Ascension 15 and below is, I think, guaranteed wins at the highest level of Slay the Spire. Even like Ascension 20 Slay the Spire, like the best people in the world don't have perfect win rates. But I forget what the rotating Slay the Spire world record is. So that's when you play Ironclad and then you do a silent run and then Defect and then Watcher and then you go back. It's like a 60 streak at Ascension 20. Like, Slay the Spire, and I think this is part of the why Slay the Spire is such a genius game. Slay the Spire feels like it's unwinnable, and it's not. You have made a series of decisions that have resulted in you losing. And versus like something like Darkest Dungeon plays around with this idea again very intentionally, leading in like hold on, because Darkest Dungeon, right, like literally finishes out the game by forcing you to kill your party. Like, no avoiding it. You're fighting the final boss of Darkest Dungeon, and it's like you have to sacrifice your party members that you walked into this boss fight with. Like, no getting out of it. The boss just says, "Come unto your maker." Your party members literally plead for their lives, and you have to click on one of them that are just instant die. Which, and like Darkest Dungeon plays with that in a very important way. But like Slay the Spire is ultimately like winnable. And there is a path. And part of what I'm wondering for Blueprints is like, is there a way to mitigate RNG through like a series of processes that don't necessarily seem intuitive, but will like become more intuitive the more you get into it?
From what I have read, no.
Okay.
That there is that the like people will be like, this is the best 12-hour game ever, and then it's like 45 hours on Steam. Because like there's ways to mitigate really specific aspects of the RNG, but not the ones you actually need, and not in the most useful way, and not consistently. And so, sure, like, as you learn about it, you will become more successful more often, right, but not successful often as in like you can do it. Like, I don't think you can win this game. I don't see any version of this game that's winnable within like less than 10 runs, for example. And that's like, if everything goes perfect, it just takes that long to happen. So I don't know. I think that, so imagine your example with Darkest Dungeon where you have to kill the guy at the end, right? Except you have to kill random party members throughout the whole game, and instead of being party members, they're time. That is how Blueprints feels.
This also happens in Darkest Dungeon, but it's a game. It's its own game. You know, it does its own thing.
You are killing time so much. But I do. So yeah, because coming off of Dark Souls, or coming off of Demon Souls, excuse me, not Dark Souls, coming off of Demon Souls, which for me was a very tedious experience, and then going into Blueprints, I think there's some element of flow state that I'm able to get in Demon Souls that I'm not able to get in, because you're not like in Demon Souls.
I understand that.
And like there's like a flow state that I'm able to like sink myself into, and that does not exist in Blueprints. There's not like it feels okay, but like it's not ultra satisfying to click on a button.
Yeah, which
is what you're doing. You're just like clicking on things. And you know, there's a tedium to how you move, and you always need to be making novel choices. So like even like the logic puzzles that show up again, there's one logic puzzle that shows up again, and you have to think about it every time. Like no matter how many times it comes across, no matter how comfortable you are with the mechanics, you have to engage yourself and like do the mental processes to make that puzzle make sense. And I think that keeps me from like a meditative flow state. I don't know. I don't know for my personality and what I want out of games if there's a way to mitigate that. Because for me, accomplishment is secondary, I guess, to aesthetic. Like the thing about
As we've noted.
the thing about Demon Souls is like it being so difficult, I feel, and like that ego death of like meditative failure, I think that is an aesthetic experience for me. Like being like, you know, having a build that's not optimal, playing the game in a way that makes it more difficult for myself, and achieving that victory through that repetitive effort. Like I think that's an aesthetic experience for me that feels cool. In Blueprints, I don't think it is. I think it's like you have to like puzzles. You have to like imagine like an infinite amount, like a crossword book of just like crossword puzzles or Sudoku. This is for
Yeah.
people who like fill up Sudoku books. I think that's who this game is for. Which there are people who do that. There are people who really like puzzles. But anyways, so yeah, I think the inability to get into a flow state is what, and the same thing with Darkest Dungeon too, because I bounced really hard off that game, and I think the fact that you are making decisions consciously, you can't just like put it in the back of your head. I feel like with Demon Souls and Elden Ring, I was able to put those decisions in the back of my head and let my body do the work, you know. But you can't do that in Blueprints.
Yeah, and a lot of like often a lot of the Souls games, there's moments of decision making, but really like the boss fights in the Souls games are often just pattern recognition. Which I feel like is fairly low cognitive load, realistically speaking, right? Like you're really just looking for, oh, the boss is doing this one kind of attack, which means like I can get a few swings in. Or if I'm like this distance away, and you just have to kind of like know those things. And that's sort of the point about like I can take multiple days my first time beating one of the DLC bosses with my full strength character. And then, I don't know, it took me like a couple hours one afternoon, probably less than a couple hours, to beat the boss on my like minimum power level 1 character. Why was I able to do that? Because I know the patterns. I know like how far back I need to stay. Like the boss has this one attack where she like grows like a big magic sword, swings it down, and then follows it up with like a whole like sweep around the arena. I can't tell you the number of times I died to that the first time I did it. The number of times I died to it on my level 1 character was, I think, once, and because she was really going for the other guy, and I kind of forgot she was going to be doing the full arena swing, and I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, I didn't die to it again. Like, once you know those things, the game is mostly just like, okay, is this a pattern where I'm going to be able to do the thing that I want to do? And so I can understand, and I've ran into this problem with, this was a while back. This would have been in like February. I was playing a couple new games at the same time. I was playing Fly Night, which is honestly a really great game. I was playing Ida, which is also a really great game. Fly Night is essentially like a Kingsfield like. It's like the predecessor to even like Demon Souls. Ida is essentially like a bullet hell, like isometric shooter. That's kind of fun and puzzly. Not really like puzzly. It's really just like an isometric bullet hell boss rush game. Those games were really fun. I had a lot of fun, but I think much in the same way. Like Ida, I could kind of get into a flow state for. Fly Night, I could kind of get into a flow state for. But my main thing was like, I just didn't want to come back from work every day and have to learn playing a new game. Like I just spent a whole day at work. I don't want to have to like go home and learn a new thing. And there's a threshold here, right? Like if the game is fun enough, then I'm like, okay, I enjoy learning this, so I'll keep doing it. And that was both of those games for a while until I think I sort of got to the mid game, and I was like, okay, I get the gimmick here. I don't need to like experience this game anymore to sort of get what it's going for. But I often do that. I play a game for a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, I had fun with this. I'm gonna leave, and maybe I come back to it, maybe I don't come back to it. Maybe it's gonna be like 3 years until I come back and restart it. Maybe it's just gonna be like a few weeks, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, what do I play? Oh, I should go back and play that one thing.
I don't often abandon games. I feel like, and I've talked about this before, but like the threshold at which a game has to be on my radar and recommended to me is so high to play
Sure.
that I feel like most of the games that I play are kind of vetted by their reputation first. So I feel like
You say as you're about to abandon.
I have not committed to that yet, but I do think it's very rare for a game to be so critically acclaimed, especially like an indie game, a smaller game.
It's like critically acclaimed,
Blueprints.
recommended to you, and you're still like, eh.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, and I understand why it's good, and I think for people who I understand why the people who like this really like it. I don't know.
See, I think the funny thing is like, I don't know if it even seems like a Katie game, because Katie likes puzzle games so much, but I'm not getting Katie vibes off of this game.
I would be interested to see how she feels about it.
Okay.
Because it's very difficult. Like I think it's very difficult. I do wonder, like, there is something about it though that makes me, oh, so that's the thing. And this might save the game for me. So I talked about how Final Fantasy, which is the game, I talked about Final Fantasy VII, which is a very, like, one of the most respected games ever made, and I have not finished that. And I talked about how it doesn't have like the just one more like session kind of vibe to it. Like it's a lot more like a book where you can kind of put it down and it doesn't call you back. Blueprints calls you back. Like Blueprints is one of the gameplay loop itself is so like, I can do one more. Like it's so addictive in my experience.
Is it also one of those games where like you're taking a shower and then you're just like, holy fuck, I get it?
Kind of, yeah. I have been thinking about it and mulling over, and also like because you kind of have an idea of what you need to happen for your version of success, you always feel like, okay, well, it didn't happen this time, but it could happen next time.
Yeah.
And so like there's like this, like, I don't know, weird optimism that comes with a new run of like, oh, I mean, there's no reason it can't be this time.
Yeah, like maybe it'll be this time.
Yeah, 100%. And so that element of it, and it's really easy to just hit start a new day.
Right.
like you'll like, I don't want to end in the middle of the run. And
but
then,
isn't this like, this is the point about it being a roguelite, right? Like there's nothing stopping you from just being like, okay, let's run it back. Which is, I think, it just really is the joy of roguelites, right? Like, this is, okay, and this is back to my other thing. This is sort of why I'm not liking the Balloons Tower Defense Rogue Legends. Is because to me, it doesn't have that same feeling of like, I want to run this back. It just takes too long. Like, getting through like a Binding of Isaac run or a Slay the Spire run or like Hades, Faster Than Light, Enter the Gungeon, like all of the roguelites I've ever played usually take like an hour to like get through a run. And that feels like a good pace. Because you're like, I want to run it back. Like getting through one stage of Rogue Legends feels like it takes an hour. Like, and you have to get through, I think, 4 or 5 stages in order to like fully beat a Rogue Legends run. And that is literally like a 5 or 6 hour experience in I haven't even gotten past like stages 2 or 3, but, and you end up playing, like if you do like a Chimps run or like an Impoppable run of Balloons Tower Defense 6, that's 100 rounds. This, you'll be playing like, oh, the first stage is like 4 rounds, and then the next stage is like 5 rounds, but it starts on round 2. And then you'll be like 5 rounds, but it starts on like round 3 or round 4.
Sure.
And like, I feel like by the time I get to the end of one stage, like one of the one stage, I've played like 100 rounds of Balloons Tower Defense. It just took me like an hour, and there was decision making along the way.
Sure.
And then they want me to do that like 3 or 4 more times.
Sure.
Like, and you can like save. I mean, you can save and quit at any time. So there's nothing like stop. There's no timer. There's nothing stopping me from just like coming back to it. But it's too tedious. I don't want to play 400 rounds of Balloons Tower Defense in a single run.
Sure.
I want to get into the flow state of playing Balloons Tower Defense. I want to place down the monkeys. I want to see the things pop. I want to play 100 rounds and feel good while I do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's something about the continuity of strategy also in Balloons Tower Defense, where like to start at the beginning and then to get to super high levels is way more satisfying than to start at a high level and then have like a bunch of money to put down a bunch of towers at once and then see how that goes. I think the build up in Balloon Tower Defense is important. What is there? So as someone who knows about roguelites more than I do, are there other puzzle roguelites like this?
The first thing that immediately came to mind was Crypt of the Necrodancer. Have you played that?
Okay. That's a rhythm game, right?
Yeah, it's the rhythm one. I mean, that's like sort of puzzly. I mean, I could probably just like look in my Steam library because you can sort by tags, right? If I look up, I mean, just like puzzle, and then I can see what comes up. Papers, Please is not really like a roguelite in the same sense.
Oh, sure. I think,
Into the Breach.
I've never played Into the Breach.
It's made by
That's a tactical. That's a tactical game though.
It's a tactical game, but different. Like people often talk about for Into the Breach, it is really more of like a puzzle roguelite because it's a tactical game, but really all of your information is given to you up front. Like all of the AI moves very consistently. You pretty much know everything that's going to happen from like the start of each missions. So it ends up being like more of a puzzle to solve it rather than like a decision-making tactical game. Like it's not it's what's the name of the genre where you like build troops and you move them around. It's not like an RTS.
Sure. Yeah, but I guess you're also not like trying to remember when someone's birthday is and then someone else's birthday and how many
it's not like a true puzzle game
eclipsed between these two people's birthdays.
I mean, let me see if I can like can I not enter multiple tags at the same time?
But yeah, I don't know. I think the idea of mixing puzzle and roguelite together is really interesting.
It is. I'm trying to look through my library really quick, and I don't know if I'm seeing anything that's like a true puzzle roguelite. There's a bunch of games here that are like puzzle games, but
I think the closest might be Papers, Please. Because you have to
Paper Please. Like there's things you definitely are supposed to remember.
Yeah, well, and I would say like you're looking for clues and you're trying to like take the totality of these documents and things like that. And I feel like there's a lot of that in Blueprints.
Puzzle game. You ever played Mark of the Ninja?
I don't know what that is, no.
It's an old game. It's not a puzzle game though. I don't know why it's coming up. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much.
I'm interested to see if you like it. It's very popular. So I mean there's a good chance that you will like it. I will be interested to see if you feel like you are spending too much time on it. And I think it's starting to get more criticism now. Like there was the initial wave of very positive reviews. And I think now, like, I just watched a really good video on Game Maker's Toolkit. And he talks about how he feels like it doesn't respect your time.
That's interesting.
Is kind of his main thing, is like feeling like
it does take too long and it's a little too tedious.
Yeah, his thing was like it you are still struggling with the beginning every time.
Which is
like
annoying, right?
Yeah, like you every
Katie
time
would have
like,
something to say about that for like prior knowledge, right? Like I should
yeah,
just be able to use my prior knowledge to
yes,
move forward.
Yes, 100%.
I don't need to reinvent the wheel every time.
Yes, and Blueprints is a game where you definitely do. Like your runs are not the same, and you have to be on it every single time from the beginning, or else you can really mess up a whole run.
I was just looking through my Steam library in terms of puzzles, but Inscription is sort of Inscription's
I would say
not super roguelitey, but
yeah, I think it has. I think it has. I
think like Inscription is such a unique game that it kind of does its own thing.
Yeah, I think it has some Inscription vibes. I think if you really liked Inscription, I think this is worth giving a shot.
Which I did really like Inscription. So,
sorry, I'm trying to look at the reviews. So it's down now. I think it was like a 93. Now it's an 85 on Steam.
It seems odd because again, yeah, like you said, I heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Are people maybe? Yeah, so I would be interested to see like. I don't want to read any of the reviews because like I don't want spoilers, and I'm the kind of person who I will be like, I don't want spoilers, and then I'll like scroll through the like reviews and then spoil myself, despite the fact that I'm like, I know I don't want spoilers.
Yeah, I think this game would be insanely difficult to spoil on accident. Like everything's so specific and complicated. Like even the guides on IGN feel like a puzzle in themselves to learn how to like navigate.
Because you said it took you like 15 minutes to solve a puzzle that you had the answer for in front of you.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know how other people are doing it. I honestly cannot imagine a version of myself that can look at these puzzles and solve them.
And just figure it out.
Like, there is nothing in me that exists like that.
I often feel that way about... And I really encourage you. I think you should go play either Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3, whichever one is up your vibe you're feeling. But I often feel that way with a lot of the stuff in some of the Souls games is I'll be like, I don't know how somebody discovered this. And it's not like it's, people say that all the time for like, somebody, you watch like a glitch speed run of some game and you're like, how did people discover this? But no, it's almost quite literally like, there's an area in Dark Souls 1 that is only accessible by walking up a ramp in a side area of the game that leads to a chest. And then so it seems like it's a dead end. You like walk into this tree and there's a chest. So you loot the chest. But if you whack the wall behind the chest, it's an invisible wall that leads to another chest. And if you whack the wall behind that chest, then it leads you to the path to the hidden area, which is actually relevant for an NPC quest line, has one of the major covenants in the game, has access to like certain loot that you can only get down there, has like some fairly major lore implications. Like, the Souls games will just hide vast swaths of their games behind esoteric means of finding them. Dark Souls 3 famously has this where there's a whole area of the game, including one of like the hardest bosses, that is only accessible from a specific gesture that you pick up in a completely other area of the game. Like no relation whatsoever. And the only way that you know, there's nothing telling you to do the gesture other than you see a guy like sitting on a carpet doing the gesture. And unless if you've done the gesture before, you would have no way to know that the gesture makes you sit in the same configuration that this guy is sitting in. And you have to sit there for like 15 seconds. So like, even if you did the gesture, you'd probably be like, oh, nothing happened. It's not like it instantly happens. You literally have to sit there for a couple seconds, and then the game gives you a cutscene and transports you to the new area. Like, I just don't know how people like made the leap of logic that's the intended leap of logic for this.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And especially without guides and things like that, I think that's, and I am, if I do finish this game, it will be very heavily reliant on guides. I think, and I don't think that's ruining the enjoyment for me, because I will get like 80% of the way there. I will know what I'm looking for, how to get that thing. I will know, like, okay, this is the information that I need. Just tell me how to get that information.
Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know. I think using guides, I don't feel like is diminishing my enjoyment. We'll see if I finish it. I don't know.
It's fine.
It promises
small game
to get
too.
weird, which is what I want.
Yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot. Again, I think I will quite literally, probably as soon as we get wrapped up here, which probably should be a couple minutes, I'll probably literally get it downloaded and get started. I was worried it was going to be like a 30 gigabyte game. No, it's like 3 gig. Like, I'll probably literally get it downloaded and be playing in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our topic. Talking about blueprints and Demon's Souls.
Cool.
Katie has been keeping me from doing honorable mentions for like the last couple weeks, and I am putting an end to that right now.
Just don't go for like 15 minutes. I gotta go. Listen, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this recording. I'm not sitting here for the next 20 minutes while you talk about dribble.
Here's the thing. So the Last of Us TV show kind of sucks.
I have seen that on your Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram has been mostly dedicated to complaining about immigration policy and the Last of Us television show.
Yeah.
And it hurts me. And people keep saying, it's going to be good, just wait. It's going to be good, just wait. I don't believe that. I think that all the new elements are very good and feel very TV-ish. Mm. This has been such an interesting exploration for me with like what TV, like the constraints of television and storytelling. Because I think Ellie is a lot more likable. Like how I was complaining that Joel was a lot more likable. Ellie in the TV show. So, and there's an example. Spoiler, I guess, if you've played. Yeah, spoiler. So, someone in Ellie's life is pregnant.
Mm.
And in the game, the first thing she says is, "You're a burden." And it has this meltdown on like how selfish it is for the person with them to be pregnant. And in the TV show, she's like happy and making jokes and like looking forward to like being a parent. And like the difference between those responses, I feel like is like about how HBO is very afraid, Craig Mazin, the people who are making this TV show, they're very afraid to make Ellie extraordinarily unlikable. However, that is the point of the game, is that the character that you're sympathetic with, you slowly lose sympathy for them.
Yeah.
And you realize that, oh, this thing that drives you makes you a bad person. But this Ellie's not a bad person. She's just a really ambitious person who also takes time to like sit and smell the roses and be happy for her friends. Which I just feel like that's not the point of that story. The point of that story was that actually she's losing all of her humanity. and she is the same as one of the faceless NPCs that you kill. Like, she is that, and she's just as violent and single-minded and single purpose and like purposelessness beyond violence, just like everyone else in this world. And the TV show is not making that same point. So I don't know what it's going to end up saying. I have no idea what this TV show is going to end up saying. But that is my take on the Last of Us TV show. Okay, I am done. There, I just needed to get that out. But I am finished talking about the Last of Us TV show.
Okay. I didn't say you had to keep it to 2 minutes. I just said, don't make it 20.
Okay. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like I did have something I wanted to say. No. It's not like even gaming related.
Also, Sinners is very good. I watched Sinners. Go watch Sinners.
I don't. Did I tell you my girlfriend and I have been watching Arrow?
The TV show? You mentioned Flash, I think. Did you watch The Flash?
No. Just been watching Arrow. It's
Gotcha.
good. I don't have like strong feelings on it. Oh, actually, on shows we did, we watched a show that I thought was really interesting. It's like Hulu. It's called Muslim Matchmakers. It's just these like women who set up these people on like dates and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like weirdly good. You should go watch it. I don't have any commentary other than like it was kind of funny. I don't think it's getting a rerun. I don't think it's getting like a second season. I mean,
okay,
but like it was interesting. It's just like cultural things that I'm not like, I don't know a lot about. So it's interesting to see like dating customs for people I'm not super familiar with.
It's called Muslim Matchmaker.
Yeah, it's on like Disney Plus, Hulu. That's
like, such a bundle. Funny name for it. That's such a funny name for it.
It's got everything on the tin. So
okay. Well, thanks for, if you have opinions on blueprints or tedium or when do you give up on a game, email us. Email is in the show notes. Follow us on TikTok, please. It makes me feel better. I don't post super often, but I do sometimes.
Bigger number, better person.
Yep. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Katie usually does this part.
She actually usually does the show notes, so you have to remember to do those.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Okay, well.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, congrats us. We did it.